Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner since 96, and you are watching my opposition analysis video on Leeds United, who happen to be our next opponents in the Premier League. Wow, this is going to be a very, very tough game because Leeds United, I have to say, are one of the most idealistic Premier League sides we have seen in a while. I don't know if that's pushing the boat out there a little bit, but the style of football that they play and the manner in which that they want to win, they want to set up, they want to humiliate their oppositions is quite frightening. And with the right players, you know, we're looking at a team that could be doing really well. In fact, they are doing pretty well this season. Let's start off by talking about their starting 11 for this. I'm going to take out my phone and I'm just going to have a look at their last starting 11, their last game, which was against Crystal Palace, and they absolutely destroyed Crystal Palace all over the pitch. Palace had no chance. We know that Bielsa likes to play a 4-1-4-1 formation. Not his famous 3-3-1-3, but it's similar, which is similar in respects to when they're attacking. When they're attacking, the shape changes a little bit. It changes to a 3-3-3-1, but when they're defending, it's a 4-1-4-1, and it's a very impressive setup. They beat Crystal Palace 2-0. And their starting lineup: in goal, Meslier, Luke Ayling, Struijk, Cooper, Alioski at the back, Phillips sitting just in front of the back four. You got Rafinha, Dallas, Click, Harrison sitting behind Bamford. Most of those players are championship players, but they have really turned up in the Premier League. They have done really, really well. Very impressive stuff. Their last 6 fixtures, they obviously beat Crystal Palace 2-0. They lost to Everton 2-1. They beat Leicester 3-1. Beat Newcastle 2-1. Lost to Brighton 1-0 and lost to Tottenham 3-0. So a mixed bag of results there. Having said that, you know, they beat Palace and they beat Leicester and they beat Newcastle. The big one there is Leicester, and they outplayed Leicester in that game as well. Not only do they have a very strong starting 11, they've got some real game changers in their on the bench. Most notably, Douglas Costa, who we know is capable. We know what he's capable of doing coming off the bench, and we know what kind of quality he brings on the field. Hernandez as well. And that's about it. I think I was just talking out of my arse there to say that they had a strong bench. But do you know what? It is a little bit of a misconception to say that they don't have a strong bench or they don't have a strong starting 11, because they don't necessarily need to have individual brilliant players. What they have in their arsenal, pardon the pun, is a team that plays for each other, with each other, all day long, and it works. Okay, so let's talk about some of the strengths and weaknesses, because that's where it gets really interesting. Without Bielsa, Leeds wouldn't be where they are. I doubt they'd be in the Premier League. So this really does come down to what he has implemented at Leeds United. And credit to him for implementing some of the stuff. But we've seen when coaches come into a new club and they try and implement new ideas, it's not often replicated as quickly as they would have liked. And to make things worse, sometimes players don't want to pick things up. Players are often a little bit, they're not really happy with the idea of playing in a certain way, especially the way that Bielsa wants to play at Leeds. I'm quite surprised that all the boys at Leeds have taken it amongst themselves to execute whatever his plan is. So in terms of their strengths, they have got a bundle of strengths in their team. They are, I mean, I say this again, ideally, in an idealistic world, they would be one of the most perfect Premier League teams. The way they set up their formation, the way they want to play. But unfortunately, with other factors coming into play, like, you know, squad depth, quality of players, lacking of fitness, fatigue, stuff like that. And they have some weaknesses in their squad as well. They're unable to, you know, push for that idealistic footballing image. So I think the most obvious strength is the style of football that they play, which is a very, very high energy style of football, high pressing, on and off the ball. And Bielsa is really quite adamant to get those two fundamental things out of his players, out of everything. It has to be high energy from the start to the very end, and there has to be a high pressing on and off the ball. And I think in the beginning, when he first took over, you know, a couple seasons back, they weren't able to implement that style of football straight away. The players, you know, struggled with keeping up with the pace of the game that he wanted to play. And then second season, they got promoted. And third season, they're able to play against Premier League sides with that style of football. And they do it really, really well. They start from the back. They build up the play. They play fantastically beautiful passing football, intricate passing football in triangles, in diamonds, especially with it's either Phillips sitting in front of the defence, Struijk sometimes as well, and with that defensive midfielder playing just in front of the defence, they're able to build up football really well, especially when they're attacking and they get their fullbacks going down. This is what really impresses me about Leeds United and about the way that Bielsa has set them up, is that they know what to do at each given moment time. They know exactly what to do. Whether they're attacking or defending, each player knows what to do at when. So when they're attacking, their fullbacks will bomb forward. Then you got their two central centre backs push to the wide a little bit, and then you'll have the central defensive midfielder sit a little bit deeper. And then so you've basically got three defenders. You then have the central midfielders, or the deep lying central midfielders in Cleek and Dallas push forward to support Bamford, and then you got Rafinha and Harrison on the wings, bombing down, and alongside them you've obviously got Alioski and Aylings overlapping them as well, which gives Harrison and Rafinha the opportunity to then get into the box, overload the box, get numbers in the box, and then pressurize the opposition into, you know, missing out a man to mark. Because when you've got 4 or 5 shirts in the box, it's difficult to mark all of them, especially when they're all moving around. And that's something else that Leeds are so good at, moving the ball around and moving around when they're off the ball. Constant movement all the time. And they've become sort of like athletes, where they're super fit human beings. They're able to run up and down the pitch throughout the course of 90 minutes without getting tired, without getting too fatigued. And that's something that they built up over time, the endurance in the last 2 or 3 seasons. They've gotten used to the way that Bielsa wants to play. But yeah, like I said, the attacking shape in which they overload players into the penalty box, it just gives them more opportunities to score, and oftentimes unless they have taken that opportunity of getting bodies into the box, picking up loose balls and smashing it into the back of the net. Possession style football, obviously I just spoke about that with intricate passing. One thing that Bielsa is fixed on is playing the game beautifully, an attacking style of football that Pep Guardiola has picked up from him and has implemented at Man City, playing the ball quickly to the feet of each other, short passing rather than going long and rather than crossing the ball. They like to keep things nice and compact, and they like to keep things on the feet. When they do play the ball long, it's a case of maybe low driven shots. But having said that, you know, they do sometimes like to play the ball long, and that's I think where their weaknesses come into play, where they lose the ball often, or where they lose possession in transition. going into attack, trying to drive from midfield to attack, and when they try and cross the ball, maybe cross diagonal balls, lose the ball, and then they're having to chase back into their defensive half, into their defensive shape. And I think finally, they're in terms to add to the intricate passing, something that they have been doing quite a lot lately is patterns of passing play, most notably 1-2 passes. 1-2 passes is picking up the ball, getting the player that's passed the ball to run into an open space and then to receive the ball back again. Obviously, we all know that, but to do that in a game of football, in a Premier League game, throughout the course of 90 minutes in dangerous areas, it's difficult to do, especially when you're being marked up and when your defender is tracking your run constantly. But where Leeds are so good at running off the ball and constantly on the movement, they're able to do those 1-2 passes. So, you know, they've got some really impressive footballing abilities in their squad. As a squad, as a group of players, they have gelled so well together that they're able to open up defences so easily. They're able to dominate games of football. And really, the way I see it, the only way to defeat a team like Leeds is to sit back, be patient, have as good as a defensive shape as possible so that you're stopping them from getting past you. You know, I would argue that maybe 5 at the back is something which is an effective way to stop a team like Leeds, because they're so good at attacking runs, they're so good at attacking movements, they can rip you up in shreds within a matter of seconds. It's the way that Bielsa has drilled them, but obviously there are weaknesses that comes to that style of play. The biggest weakness for me is not having the quality in the squad to finish the number of opportunities that they get. I do rate Bamford quite highly. I believe that he's a good player. I believe he's a good striker, but he is very wasteful. He often gets 2-3 opportunities a game and he doesn't take them. He doesn't take enough advantage of them. He gets into good areas. He is really good in the final third to open himself up into good spaces, and you know, he's a good runner on the ball as well. But the squad as a whole, the amount of opportunities they create, they don't convert those opportunities into the back of the net. It's very similar to what Arsenal are facing as well, not having the quality up front to finish the opportunities that they get. And I guess it reflects the same positions that they both sit in. The fitness and fatigue is obviously an issue as well, because when you're playing at such a high intensity, such a high level of football, you're obviously going to experience some fatigue somewhere down the line in the season. Injury is going to come into play, and it's something that they've experienced in the past, and it's something which is going to be inevitable until they get superhuman beings. Because like I said, the style of football that Bielsa wants to play is so demanding. It demands, 110% energy in every single game, and when you've got games coming in thick and fast every 2 or 3 days, I mean, they only played the other day, 3 or 4 days ago. And so it's going to be very, very difficult to keep up with that type of pace, especially in the Premier League. But so far they've done that really, really well. So hats off to them. But I can see in the latter period of the season struggling to keep up with that sort of pace of football. The weaknesses in their actual shape and formation, I personally see them being quite weak on set pieces. They've conceded quite a few goals in their last few games on set pieces, and easy to counterattack against as well. Because when you're playing in such an attacking way, when you've got bodies bombing down the pitch, as soon as you lose it in the final third of the defense of the opposition defense, or even in the middle of the pitch, you need to scramble back as quick as possible to get into a defensive shape, because you've only got 3 back there, and oftentimes, sometimes even 2 back there, because they love to push bodies forward. They love to apply pressure on the opposition defense. But when you have an opposition who are very good at shaping their defense in a structure that can easily win the ball back, or even in a stubborn sort of formation where everyone is tightly knit, unit, everyone is compact, everyone has a blade of grass to cover, it's difficult to break a team down like that, and unless you invite them to come and try and get the ball off you, and then you disrupt that formation. But when you're playing against a stubborn side, it's so easy to lose the ball. It's so easy to then be on the back foot on a counter-attacking move. And I believe that in order for Arsenal to maybe try and cause Leeds United an issue, I don't know whether dominating the game of football against them, playing toe to toe, is going to be the smartest thing to do. I believe that in order to win this game, we need to sit back, we need to be patient, soak up the pressure maybe, and then hit them on a counter attack. And if we don't do that, then we're going to be playing a very risky game. That's basically my opposition analysis on Leeds United. I do see them continuing to play that same style of football against us. I do see them still trying to possess the game, and like I said, unless you feed into it and unless you allow them to do that, it's going to be difficult to take the game to them when they're so good off the ball. They close you down as early as possible, and then they can pose a counter-attack on themselves, which they're really good at. Okay, I'll leave it there. There are only a few days. Actually, well, we play them tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be back with another video, a match day preview, where I'll be looking forward to the game itself, the players that I'll be playing, the way that I see us winning this game, setting up, etc. But look, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that bell notification to be notified every time I release a video. Okay. I don't know what the hell that pause was. I literally just went brain dead for a minute there. I was trying to get the right words out, but they wouldn't come out. Until I see you tomorrow, please stay safe and stay home, and enjoy the rest of your day. This has been a really bizarre video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.